Hey guys, so today I'm going to show how to configure HSRP, where HSRP is Hot Standby Router Protocol. Uh, and so, I mean the why we configure is because to get fault tolerance between the routers. Let's say if R1 goes down, R2 takes over. If R2 goes down, R1 takes over. Stuff like that. Or even if one of the interfaces go down, then the other standby router takes over. So this is my network. I'm using a virtual PC over here, and I'm using a loopback address to save some of my processing power. Since I'm using JNS3 and it's very CPU intensive, and I'm just using my laptop, so I hope you understand. Uh, I could have used a PC, but that takes more power out of it, and I might not be able to record a video or capture the frames. So let's before that, let's go into my virtual PC, which is this, and this is my configuration on that PC. 1.10 is my IP address and 1.1 is my default gateway. Alright, and if I try and ping my loopback address, I'm able to, but how am I supposed to know which route it is taking? So that's why I trace it. You can use trace it, which route it is taking, and it will tell you exactly which way it is going, whether it's using this path or this path to go to reach its destination. So at the moment it's using this because we have specified 1.1 is as a default gateway, as you can see, but we could change that to 1.2 as well. It would have worked, but that's not the point over here. We have to configure HSRP, or we can even manually set that default gateway over there. But who is going to go? Let's say there were 1,000 PCs. Will you go over there and change each of the default gateways? No, right? So that's why we configure HSRP and do our fault tolerance over there. So let's go ahead and configure our routers. I've just configured the interfaces and I'm running OSPF. I see show run. So if I show you, I've configured nothing apart from the configure the interface in the OSPF. That's the basic thing. If you don't know how to configure that, you can see my previous and then come back to this video, because I don't want to explain all that again, which I've already explained. So I hope you understand. I've configured FA0/0 with a priority higher than the other one because I want to make that interface or this router as my DR on this interface, and this would be my BDR. Since otherwise, if I didn't configure this priority over here, then this one would have been my DR, since it has the highest IP address on that interface. So let's assume that this is a best router than this. That's why I use this to be my DR. Right? So let's go ahead and show IP route, and it will show all the routes. Right? So let's go into the interface. Which is the interface on R1, which is this, and all we have to type here is standby 1 IP and give it as a virtual IP address, which is 192.1. It can be anything, but it shouldn't be used by any of the system at the moment. And if we hit enter, it will look into the listen and see if anybody else is using this. If not, it will make this as an active router, and then a message will pop up over here. It will take some time, right? It has given me that this router is active and there's no other router configured to be standby. I'll show that. Standby. So active route is local and standby route is unknown because we haven't configured anything yet on the standby router. And as you can see, don't confuse this priority with the OSPF priority. Ignore that part because the OSPF priority is for a different purpose altogether, to elect a DR and BDR. This priority is not to elect the DR or the BDR. This is for HSRP protocol to choose which one should be the active router and which one to be the standby router. So please don't confuse this with that. At the Alright, if I show you all the other thing, if I go over here, so let's see. Alright, so interface. So why I showed this command to you, output to you all, is because can you see this MAC address? C801.19A0.0001, and because each interface will have a different MAC address. This is having a different MAC address than this one, and as you can see on the R1 router, since we have configured a virtual interface, first show you, this is the virtual interface virtual IP address, and it has given a virtual MAC address, since the actual interface IP address is 1.1 and 2.1. So we give that IP address to fool the systems in the network that this address is a gateway. No matter where how many routers we configure it on, we will configure the very same address on this router as well. So this PC doesn't know. It only knows that 192.168.1.254 is a default gateway, but actually when the router is active, let's say this one is active, then this will be the gateway, and this will when this is active, this is the gateway. But with virtual IP address, since both of them are configured with the same IP default gateway, this will get at the moment it is configured with this gateway, but we have to go and configure it with the new gateway which I have configured with the virtual IP address on this PC. So I guess that answers your question, which I guess you might be thinking. So now if I try and configure the say do show interface so you can see the MAC address is different than the virtual MAC address. What is that? I guess you know what is the MAC address. I did show you all before. So exit out of that, and I'll go to R2 and do the same thing to the global configuration mode interface 0/1, which is connected which is this interface, 1.2's interface, and what I do is standby 1 IP 92.68 it will listen to the listen and check if other routers are using this IP address. If it finds that somebody else is using this IP address and that one is set to be active, this will be on standby. You'll see a message anytime right now, but let me go and show. In the meanwhile, I'm still using the same I'm using the same route which I was using it before, since if I haven't changed the default gateway. Let me go here and configure this. So R2 is standby, and S2 show standby, and I guess I can give some more commands there. Alright, so as you can see, the MAC address has changed to a virtual MAC address, which is same for both the routers, because it has to be to for the HSRP to work. And as you can see, the priority is 100 on both the routers, but yep. Let's say this is our standby, where we can see standby route is local and active route is 101. Let's say if a router interface had to go down, interface means -0, interface is shut down, then R2 should take over. R2 should take over. In the meanwhile, let's join ping 4.2. At the moment it will time out because they are switching from primary and active to active to the standby, and the OSPF is trying to configure OSPF is trying to negotiate. Let me see. So R2 has become then it has to this was lost because pings were lost because of the ARP, because since we have changed it from R1 to R2, then it has to learn the MAC addresses and stuff. So that's why we lost some of the pings. But that's okay then. This is active router. So that's it. And what else I wanted to say? So this y'all can see the fault tolerance right now, since this interface has failed. This one router R2 has taken over. What if this interface comes up? Even though this interface do come up, this router will not take over. You will see. Let's see why did I lose that in this I'll know exactly which route it is taking. Okay, I'm using. No, I was a bit confused there. It did switch from R2 to R1. I don't know why it gave me this timeout. But anyway, you can see that it is taking the route. Why? Because this is on standby. I can prove it to you by active router is 1.1.2 and standby is local, and R1 is local at the moment. No, oh yeah, okay. Standby route is R1. So even though this interface it come up, so let me show that I'm not making this up. Just here, see the interface is up. The R1 is even though the R1's interface came up, and we wanted to make this R1 the primary router. R1 didn't take over as an active router because in HSRP you need to have a priority. So at the moment, both of their priorities 100, and if I try to increase the priority, standby 1, priority is 101, which is higher than the priority of R2, which is 100. So now the active router is still 1.2, which is R2's, and it is having a priority of 100. And this one we have changed the priority to 101. That's why it says configured. So 101 is higher than 100. So this one should take over. No. Oh, this one. Okay, this one will. Let's see. This one should actually in standby. Right. So this one didn't take over. It's because uh, we haven't specified another command, which is the standby one preempt, which what it does is for in this case this one should take over since it is having the higher priority. But even though it is having a higher priority, the HSRP thinks that since R2 is a active router at the moment, it's not necessary to or it's absolutely not necessary for R1 to take over, because there's a lot of process that needs to take over the R cache, and there's changes to the network, so it's kind of upsets the network. As you can see that that's why you tend to get pings lost when you try to ping. I did show you over there. That's why it says whenever R2 fails, then I will take over. So I can prove it to you by simply going on to R2, and if I shut down this interface, then should it become the standby router. Alright, we have shut down the interface. That's why it's not giving me the message. Let's go here. Right, this has become the standby active router. Active router is local and standby router is unknown because it's not able to learn from the other router since that interface which was connected to is disconnected or shutdown state. So that's why. So now, as I've mentioned before, now the R1 has taken over since R2 has gone down or one of its interfaces has gone down. So this process only takes place when the other router, whichever router it is, goes down. The active router goes down, then the standby router takes over. But if you want to make this automatic, like you since as I mentioned it before, R1 is a mass router, then R2, then we will like it to make it as automatic as possible. Since if let's say R1 went down and R2 take over, but in some days we repair the router and put it back in the network, but we wanted it to become a active router automatically as soon as it is connected and converged and all that stuff happens. Then we have to insert another command over here. So what we need to type in here is standby one, and we need to type preempt over here and hit enter. Right. So now in this case, whenever our R1 interfaces goes down, it will become a standby, and once it has come up, it will become an active router automatically. You can prove it to you by shutting down this interface. I go here and type no shut. In some time it should say this is my active router. Yep, this is my active router as it says over here, and now the message has come. Alright, so what if I try and say no shut? This will override that thing and automatically force it to become this router as my active router. As you can see, the message has popped up over here and it says I want to be the active router right now. So this is how you do it. But what if this let's say what if this interface had to go down? Since this is active router, it will not go and go down and say this is a standby router and this is active router. Why? Because the router only knows about this interfaces and not this one. So to make it that happen, what we can do is go in R1 and tell it that we standby on and tell it to track that interface which we want to let the HSRP know whenever this interfaces or any other interface which might be connected to that router. If those interfaces go down, please make this router standby and this one to be my active router, because there's no point when you can't reach outside the network. Even though this link is active, where will you go? The message will come destination is unreachable. So, and here we need to type the decremented value, which will reduce your priority. At the moment we have a priority of 101, so if we had to reduce it, we will have to reduce it by 2 or more than 2 if you want, but it's more than enough. I think 101 minus 2 is 99, which is lower than my priority of R2. That works for me. So here it is, and exit out of there. And if I do this, shut it down, and if I say do show standby, then it will tell me this is my standby router. Have I turned on that interface? Don't know. Let's see. Interface. There we are. Alright. Do show standby. The router is 1.1. I think if I let's see interface increases is 0. If I show say standby and preempt, and click on this. Yeah. No, I did the wrong thing. This I shouldn't configure over here. I configured on the wrong interface. I need to configure it on FA0/1. Alright. So now that we have become a active router, so we had to configure the preempt over here just to let the HSRP protocol know that the value is lower or the priority is lower. Since this interface is down and the priority has gone from 101 to 99, and which is lower than a priority of R2, uh, then we should make R2 as a active router for the primary router and R1 as a standby router. So there's this transition from active and standby. Can I ping it? Absolutely, I could ping it. Yep. And I say preset. Will say it will before it has 1.2, now it will be having 1.2. Yep, 1.2. Since this is an active router R2, and yeah, alright. And if I turn it back on, like if I turn this interface on, and if I go into my PC, yeah, and preset, then instead of 1.2 it will be 1.1. Yep. And that's it. So save, close, So as I've explained, like if you want to have a smooth transition from the active router which has gone bad to the other router which was standby to make that router as active, then that's the way you have to do it. If you have any problem, please let me know. Thanks for watching.